Hello everyone, welcome to online class of 10th standard. Today I am going to explain you a lesson of English. Lesson name is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So this lesson is written by Sri R. Venkatraman. Children, do you remember who is he? Yeah, he was our 8th president. Let me see about him now. Ramaswamy Venkatraman was a lawyer, independence activist and politician who served as a union minister of our country, and he was the 8th president of India. So he was our 8th president. He was also a lawyer and he was independence activist, means he participated in the independence activity, and he was a union minister also. He was served as a union minister of our country. So down we can see some of the lines which are said by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I like the religion that teaches liberty, equality and fraternity. So how good they are. So Ambedkar is saying he is liking the religion which is going to teach the liberty, equality and fraternity. Now let me start the lesson. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. One trait which marked Baba Saheb during his student days and in fact throughout his life was that he was a voracious reader. Voracious means who was eager to earn the knowledge. He had an insatiable thirst for books. So from childhood to of his lifelong, he was voracious reader, means he was very eager to get the knowledge. How will come to know this? He bought books by curtailing his daily needs. So by cutting off his daily needs, he used to buy the books. In New York, he is said to have purchased about 2000 old books. So when he was studying in New York, there he used to purchase 2000 old books. And it is recorded that at that time of the second round table conference in London, he bought so many books that they had to be sent to India in 32 boxes. So another example they are giving about his voracious reader is how much he had a thirst for reading is when he attended the second round table conference in London. That time he had purchased books, it seems. How many they were sent to India in how many boxes? 32 boxes. So many he had an interest to read the books. And it is important to record here one major influence on Dr. Ambedkar. While in the USA, he was drawn to the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the USA, which gave freedom to the black Americans. So one thing drawn while he was in USA, that was the 14th Amendment of the USA. You can see the picture of that. That is the 14th Amendment of the USA, which gave freedom for the black Americans. And he saw at once the parallel of the situation for the depressed classes in India. When he came to know about the 14th Amendment of USA, at that same situation, he also noticed the depressed class of our India, how they used to suffer. On returning home means here, on returning to our country means India, Baba Saheb came to be greatly influenced by the life and work of Mahatma Phule. So after returning from USA, he was influenced by the life and work of Mahatma Phule. A votary of the classes, society and women's uplift. So Mahatma Phule had worked for the upliftment of the lower classes and society and also the women. The need as well as the feasibility of reform impressed itself on Baba Saheb's mind, and he decided to devote all his time and talents for the amelioration of his underprivileged brethren. Brethren means here brothers. Devote means to give. So after coming to know about the work of the Mahatma Phule, so he also made his mind to devote, means to give all his time and talent to uplift the underprivileged brothers. Newspapers started by him such as the Mukanayak, Bahishkrit Bharat and Samata were at once recognized as authentic voices of the depressed classes. So in the picture you can see the 3 newspapers which were brought from Ambedkar. They are Mukanayak, Bahishkrit Bharat and Samata. So once he published these 3 newspapers, so his at once recognized as authentic voices of the depressed classes. Likewise, institutions set up by him such as Hitakarani Sabha and the Independent Labour Party of India. Not only bringing out the newspapers, he also started 2 of the institutions. They were Hitakarani Sabha and Independent Labour Party of India. And during the same period, Gandhiji was pioneering his epic reform of Indian society, which included the uplift of depressed classes whom Gandhiji had termed Harijans. Same time, Gandhiji also used to work upon these people, and he had termed those people, means depressed people, as Harijans. Baba Saheb was elected to the Bombay Legislative Assembly in the elections under the Constitution of Indian Act of 1935. So you can see the picture of the Legislative Assembly. In this assembly, he has elected to the Bombay Legislative Assembly under the Constitution of Indian Act of 1935. Baba Saheb made effective contributions to the debates in the assembly on a variety of subjects. So in that assembly, he made a debate upon the variety of subjects. His flair, means ability for legislative work, became evident to the whole nation. So after giving the speech about the different subjects, his flair, means ability, came to know for the whole nation. Soon the Constituent Assembly of India afforded Dr. Ambedkar the opportunity to give the most notable and permanent shape to his social philosophy and to his undying faith in the dignity of human beings. So soon when the nation came to know about his ability, so Constitution Assembly offered to give Ambedkar the opportunity to give the most notable and permanent shape to the social philosophy and to his undying faith in the dignity of human beings. Baba Saheb was not in a Congress, but it must be said to the credit of the far-sighted and objective leadership of the Indian National Congress that it requested Dr. Ambedkar to serve on the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly and made him its chairman, even though he was not belonging to the Congress party. By knowing his talent, so it was given the opportunity of the drafting committee was given to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and he became the chairman of drafting committee. As chairman of the drafting committee, Dr. Ambedkar anticipated, means accepted, every conceivable, means think, requirement of the new polity. Drawing from the examples and experience of other nations and the distinctive needs of our own society, he raised brick by brick, means step by step, the magnificent edifice, means which now stands as the fundamental rights in the Constitution of India. And there were, of course, other luminaries on the committee, like along with him in the drafting committee, other members were there. Who were there means Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, K.M. Munshi and N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar. So in the picture you can see those along with the Ambedkar. So along with Ambedkar, these people also worked for the drafting of our constitution, who also made vital contributions to the process of constitution making. But if there is one person who will be remembered as the pilot of the various provincials of the Indian constitution, it will surely be Dr. Ambedkar. So even though many people were there, so main pilot of this, pilot means who will run the aircraft, isn't it? The main person of this drafting committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It developed on Dr. Ambedkar to explain to the assembly with the combination of tact means cleverly, and frankness and utmost patience, the meaning and scope means extent of the different provisions of the draft constitution. Draft means here we can say write, to write. Write is nothing but draft. He had the rare gift of unraveling the most complicated legal concepts in a language which the layman understood. Unraveling means any doubt. And he had a rare gift of unraveling the most complicated legal concept in a language which the layman means common people can understand. He had a talent that to explain anything, any tough matter to even for the common people. Dr. Ambedkar, aided by the indefatigable constitutional advisor B.N. Rao, in the picture you can see him, he was the legal advisor for him, performed his task matchlessly. Dr. Ambedkar had a clever perception, means ability to see of a mutuality of the three pillars of the state, the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. And he realized the jurisdiction of each should be clear and untrammeled, means not restricted. At the same time, he had a sense of the importance of the role of citizen. So he had a clever ability, means clever thinking about the mutuality of the three pillars. Which are the three pillars? Already you came this about in your social, isn't it? So which are the three pillars of the constitution? Yeah, legislature, executive and judiciary. And he realized the jurisdiction of each should be the clear and untrammeled. All of us know jurisdiction is the one pillar which is not under any control, isn't it? It is no restriction is there for jurisdiction in our India. At the same time, he had a sense of the importance of the role of the citizen. Along with this, he had the sense of the role of citizen also. So, how all of us know, the Constitution has given the rights as well as duty of the citizens, isn't it? The following observation he made is significant. So, what he observed, let me see now. The Constitution is a fundamental document. It is a document which defines the position and power of the three organs of the state, the executive, the judiciary and the legislature. It also defines the powers of the executive and the powers of the legislature as against the citizens, as we had done in our chapter dealing with fundamental rights. Already you know about this in the fundamental rights. In fact, the purpose of a constitution is not merely to create the organs of the state, but to limit their authority. Because If no limitation was imposed upon the authority of the organs, there will be complete tyranny, means one man rule will be there, tyranny means, and complete oppression. This also same meaning it will give. So without limitations on these three pillars, if there is no limitation means it will be tyranny or a complete oppression upon the citizens. Jawaharlal Nehru chose Dr. Ambedkar to be the first law minister of independent India. So after getting the independence, Jawaharlal Nehru chosen Dr. Ambedkar as the first law minister of independent India, and this was a recognition of Dr. Ambedkar's skill in the field of law and legislation, as also a tribute. Tribute means respect to his vision of social justice, a vision which was sought to be infused into a new Indian polity. So, by recognizing his skill about the law and legislation, Nehru has given him a law ministry. But above all, this was a tribute to the success of Baba Saheb and Dr. Ambedkar's own campaigns against social injustice. And who could have dreamt that one born to a Mahar family, Mahar is a very low caste, we can say, which is existed in Maharashtra. So he was born to the Mahar family, would one day become not only a law minister but a lawmaker, and he hailed as a modern Manu. Manu means a first man or a first human being, we can say. So he has hailed as a modern Manu. So about his childhood and all, if you want to know still more means, nowadays in Z channel, Z Kannada, in Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. a serial is coming about him. You can watch it for the more information about him. So he has hailed as a modern Manu. In the 4 decades, decades means 1 decade equals to 10 years. 4 decades means 40 years and more since independence, much progress has been achieved in providing equality of opportunities to the people. Members of the scheduled caste find doors which had been closed to them for centuries being opened. So after independence, many of the scheduled caste people have got much of the opportunity, and no legal bars exist today for self-expression or self-advancement, and they are enrolling themselves in institutes of higher learning and entering public services. So in all sorts, means in all institutions and even in the public services, they got opportunity to participate. They have come to occupy high offices of the state, both at the center and in the states. Judges, ambassadors and governors have been drawn from their ranks, and they have acquitted themselves creditably in all these positions of responsibilities. All fields nowadays we can see they have ranked number 1, and yet much remains to be done on the social plane. The annual reports of the Commissioner for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes list several violations of the law and several instances where, notwithstanding the statute book, and members of the scheduled caste have been discriminated against. And Baba Saheb Ambedkar's work will be truly complete only when social discrimination is completely eliminated from our society. Now also fully social discrimination is not eliminated. When it will eliminate, then only the Baba Saheb Ambedkar's work will be complete. Baba Saheb Ambedkar always stressed the importance of constitutional methods to achieve social objectives. In an interesting observation, he once is described. The methods of civil disobedience, protest or certain unjust laws we can say, and non-cooperation and satyagraha as a grammar of anarchy. He described the methods of civil disobedience, non-cooperation and satyagraha as a grammar of anarchy. And the observation assumes importance in the context of public agitation in free India. So where the citizens having all the right, there we cannot see like this civil disobedience or non-cooperation or satyagraha. It is said as a grammar of anarchy. In one of his speech he said about this. And it is one thing to utilize these methods in a struggle against an alien power. Alien means any bad power we can say. And the right to rebellion is recognized against a government without people's consent, to be it alien or national dictatorship, but not in a democracy based on free and fair elections. So where the dictatorship type of government will be there in that such a type of government we can see all this disobedience or non-cooperation or satyagraha, not in democratic government. And misdirected and volatile, such agitations invariably result in the loss of lives and public property. So in democratic government this all is going to happen means only we can see the loss of lives and even the public property. About 2500 years ago, the Buddha had questioned the caste divisions in India. So in the picture you can see the picture of Buddha there. So 2500 years back ago only Buddha had questioned about the caste. And he said the only valid divisions are the divisions between those who are noble and wholesome. So he is saying that two divisions of the caste or the people are there. Who are there? The only valid divisions are the divisions between who are noble and wholesome. Noble means Gauravanvita we can say, and wholesome means who are good, and those who are ignoble and unwholesome. So here two types means the people who are good and bad we can say totally. So he is dividing the people into two. One is noble and wholesome, another is ignoble and unwholesome. And same like that another example, the Tamil poetess Avvai, in picture you can see her. She is the Tamil poetess Avvai, had said similarly that there are only two castes in the world, namely the charitable means one who give, and the superior and the misers who do not and are therefore inferior. So who will give, who will having a giving nature, they will be superior, and who are miser, she is saying they will be the inferior. Throughout the course of the Indian history, great sages and saints exposed the hollowness of these divisions and sought to bring all the communities of India together in a creative partnership. But caste, by virtue of its power structure, showed itself to be firmly entrenched. Under the policy of divide and rule, this also came when the British were ruling our India. They started rule our India by divide and rule policy, isn't it? So under the policy of divide and rule, the British rules exaggerated caste distinctions and divide the people of India further to strengthen their hegemony over us. So when they wanted to rule our India, they started divide and rule, means they made the caste much big, and they divided people of India further to strengthen their hegemony over us, means to rule. They started to rule over us, and it was given to two great Indians of our time, Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. To repudiate means to reject the caste and to proclaim the oneness of the Hindu community. So these are the at that time these are the two important people, Gandhiji and Ambedkar, who rejected the caste system and proclaimed the oneness of the Hindu community. Gandhiji did so by reminding the higher caste of their duty towards the depressed classes. How Gandhiji had proclaimed this? By to the higher caste people, by doing their duty towards the depressed classes. Baba Saheb Ambedkar did the same by reminding them to their inherent means existing rights to equality with the higher and more powerful caste. So, in another hand, Baba Saheb did the same. How? By reminding the people about their rights to equality with the higher people. Even the depressed people also had a same right of equality as the higher people. And one stressed the duties, the other stressed the rights. Together, they brought about the veritable revolution in social thought. Veritable means real revolution in social thought. In the picture, you can see the both of them. When Baba Saheb passed away in December 1956, Jawaharlal Nehru made a moving reference in the Lok Sabha. So, in Baba Saheb passed away in December 1956 of Ambedkar, Jawaharlal Nehru held a conference in Lok Sabha describing Baba Saheb as a symbol of revolt. So he is describing Baba Saheb as a symbol of revolt, and also he said, I have no doubt that whether we agreed with him or not in many matters, but perseverance and persistence, and that, if I may use the word sometimes, virulence of his opposition of all this did keep the people's mind awake and did not allow them to become complacent about matters which could not be forgotten, and helped in rousing up those groups in our country which had suffered for so long in the past. Means he is saying about the depressed class people here, who uplifted by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And it is therefore sad that such a prominent champion of the oppressed and depressed in India, and one who took such an important part in our activities, had passed away. So, how beautifully he is explaining Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's work and his ability. And there can be no doubt that the day is not far off when Baba Saheb Ambedkar's dream of Samata means we can say all are equal, will become a reality. So, lastly, Venkatraman is explaining, there can be no doubt that the day is not far when Baba Saheb Ambedkar's dream of Samata will become a reality. So, let me glance in each para what the important point we learn now today. In first para, Ambedkar had a great thirst of books, or Ambedkar was a voracious reader. About this matter we came to know. In second para, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of USA. And same like in third para, we came to know about the Baba Saheb was elected to the Bombay Legislative Assembly. In fourth para, the Constituent Assembly of India upheld Dr. Ambedkar. And in fifth para, as chairman of the drafting committee. And in sixth para, the three pillars of the state, Ambedkar's perception. And in seventh para, we came to know that Nehru chose Ambedkar as a law minister. And in eighth para, the facilities provided by the Social Welfare Department. And in the ninth para, social discrimination and elimination from our society. And in 10th para, the grammar of anarchy. 11. The Buddha and the Tamil poetess. Why? And in 12th para, the policy of divide and rule. And in 13th para, Baba Saheb passed away in December 1956 and Jawaharlal Nehru's words in the Lok Sabha. And in last, Baba Saheb Ambedkar's dream of Samata will become a reality. So these are the important points about the lesson. I am thinking you have understood the lesson. Go on studying. Thank you.